What's up, guys? It is Zach with Drake Tech Solutions today with a client build that I'm going to try and rush through. Not rush, but get through today with one video here. So we have an ARES Amoeba. I already know because I've looked at this that it has a cracked gearbox. So what I've decided to do with the client is basically a full custom build. So I'm going to jump right into it. Open this up, pull the gearbox out, take parts out, and set them aside for the client to take back home. I never keep anybody's stuff, so with that being said, I'm going to jump right into this. So oh no. Alright. We have the body out and the gearbox. I can already see this is absolutely destroyed. You can see right there. Jeez, oh Pete. Metal shavings everywhere. And cracked gearbox, if you can see that. It's cracked here and here at the front. Nice. Nice. So I need a few things out of here, not a lot, but I'm gonna dig into this real quick. And you have your ARES gearbox here, so I am going to steal the anti-reverse latch, trigger, which you can see the cracked gearbox shell now. It's a feature. The metal shavings all over this. And yeah, this thing was beat up. Beat up. So yeah, as you can see, it's a mess. So I'm going to clean this up and get our new parts and kind of go from there. Sweet. So now that we're cleaned up, the only thing that I'm going to try and salvage is the trigger, which looks proprietary, unfortunately. So I'm going to try and make it work with a Perun clicker. And then we have a new Lonex gearbox shell that I'm going to pull the bearings out of and put some bushings. So in the meantime, what I'm going to do is pull out the selector switch here and kind of get into this. My main goal right now is to see if I can get the trigger to work with the clicker because the clicker doesn't need the spring. So I might have to modify that trigger. I'm not going to modify the gearbox. I don't have any reason to. So I'm going to do my best here with the tools that I'm given. If I can't get it to work, I will sacrifice my VFC trigger for him, and we'll get the client figured out here. So he comes first. He's obviously paying me to do this service for him, so I want to make sure that he's taken care of. In the meantime here, this gearbox shell is going to need a little bit of help. Specifically, I'm going to polish the piston rails and radius the gearbox shell. So right now, the first thing that I'm trying to figure out is the trigger, if I can get this to work here. So looks like I might be able to. If I put the clicker in here, does it contact? Does not. It's too short. So I was worried about that. So let's see here. Meantime, let's look at the difference. So this is the ARES and this is a standard V2. It's about 5 millimeters longer, so I cannot use this. So I will have to sacrifice my VFC trigger here. Alright. Let me just make sure this works in this gearbox as well. I actually don't think he wants the clicker, so tuck that back in there. And now that that's out of the way, the first thing I'm going to do is actually polish the rails here and get this all situated so that the piston rides well. So awesome. This is what we got at the moment. Next, I'm going to radius the gearbox, and that should be it for shell modification. Right, so I'm gonna radius this gearbox here. Alright, cleaned up workbench after radiusing here. And you'll notice the only thing I did was take the 90s off and give small radius on both sides. Didn't touch the back, just the front here. I'm also going to take a little bit of sandpaper and just smooth up those edges to make sure there's no burrs. Make sure my my workbench is nice and clean, because how is your gearbox clean if your workbench is not? These shells, the cast shells, tend to have some really sharp edges, so all I'm doing is just giving a nice corner on anything that's going to be just sharp here. So now we have a modified gearbox. It's going to be perfect, last a long time, smooth on our piston. The next thing I'm going to do is press fit in our bushings here. There's bearings in these Lonex gearboxes and they always go out, so that's going to be our next step here. So alrighty. Perfect. So got our T238 brushless motor. Alright guys, so off screen what I had to do here, I had to actually shave into the motor grip, because what was happening is on this gearbox shell, when the motor grip was on, you could see where I shaved. The gear shaft was sticking too far out and was actually hitting this, and I could not shim it. So back at it here, what I'm going to do is reattach my motor grip. Attached decent here, and like I said, I'm going to start with the 0.3 and slide my bevel in here. It's not touching or contacting the gearbox shell, which is good. It's not contacting the grip anymore, which is perfect. So now what I'm going to do is actually put the motor in and see how we are with alignment. Now, can set these all aside here and get ready for our final assembly here. So I want to make sure that I have a feeling I need to short stroke 2 teeth off of my sector gear here, especially with the cylinder that I got, air seal. So before I do feeding, I know air seal's good, so I'm going to check to see what I need to short stroke here. AOE is perfect. It looks like I'm gonna need 2 teeth off my sector. So I'm gonna go take 2 teeth off the pickup side of my sector and I will be right back. Perfect, so I just short stroked. I took 2 teeth off. Just gonna clean that up a hair. Make sure there's no sharp edges. Perfect. And that's our release. It's actually right at the entrance, so I could probably remove one more tooth on the release side, but I'm gonna actually leave it at that. Don't really like taking more teeth off than I need to. So now I can work on the feeding aspect of this. So when I say feeding, I mean we have our pickup right when we pick up our piston. We're back all the way here, which means we're back farther and for longer. And now we're going forward. Actually, I am content with that. I might snip a hair off. Let's see. I wonder if the tappet plate needs to be used. Yep. That's a good note. So the SHS tappet plate will not work in the Lonex gearbox. So the more you know. It's probably why they give it to you. On and do our test fire here. Make sure everything works before assembling. Do a 7-4 first. So there's a cut, but Gearbox is perfect. It fits almost in the old Amoeba gearbox, but there's these two tabs that are holding it at the front. So I'm going to shave those down and hopefully yep, perfect. And now the pinholes line up. Sweet. All right, let's reassemble this guy. Catch works. Perfect. Squirt. Make sure that this guy is going to feed. So I'm going to do the hop up. Doing quad bucking and nub combo, keeping the stock barrel. Well, looks like we're just doing the bucking because the arm on this is one of the ones that you can't use a nub for. So
Looks like we're gonna have to shave some of the upper just to get it to align right. So I will be right back. Alright guys, so there was a lot of issues, but basically what happened was it needed a delayer chip. The piston wasn't compatible with the Lonex gearbox that I put in there. So anyway, we got it all feeding. So I'm just gonna do some 0.28, 1.18, 1.15, 1.11, 1.14. Feeds every BB. It's great.